The old house stood alone on the hill, a sentinel of secrets. Its presence was a constant reminder of the past, a past that refused to be forgotten. Its windows, like watchful eyes, stared out at the town below. They seemed to hold a silent vigil, guarding the mysteries within. Wind howled through the eaves, sounding like whispers. Whispers of dread, whispers of things best left buried. The wind carried tales of sorrow and despair, echoing through the empty halls. Inside, the Blackwood family shivered, not from the cold, but from a fear that clung to them like cobwebs. A fear passed down through generations. They felt the weight of their ancestors' sins pressing down on them, an invisible burden they could not escape. This house, their ancestral home, held a darkness. They could feel it in their bones, in their blood. The walls seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy, a living entity that fed on their fear. John Blackwood, the patriarch, paced the living room. His face, etched with worry, reflected the flickering firelight. He was a man haunted by the past, tormented by the knowledge that he could not protect his family from the curse that plagued them. He clutched a worn leather-bound book, the source of their troubles, the source of the curse. The book contained the dark history of the Blackwood family, a history written in blood and sorrow. Night had fallen. Shadows danced on the walls, twisting and turning like phantoms. They seemed to mock the family, reminding them of the darkness that lurked within their own hearts. The whispers grew louder, more insistent. Something was coming, something evil. The air grew thick with tension, and the family could feel the presence of something otherworldly drawing near. The Blackwood family braced themselves, for they knew the truth. The sins of the father are visited upon the children. They had no choice but to face the darkness head-on, hoping to break the cycle of torment. And tonight, the past would return to claim its due. The house would reveal its secrets, and the Blackwoods would confront the legacy that had haunted them for generations. The night was far from over, and the whispers of the walls would not be silenced. The Blackwood family history was steeped in darkness. Whispers of forbidden knowledge, secret societies, and ancient rituals. Their ancestor, Elijah Blackwood, had been a man obsessed. He craved power, power beyond the realm of mortals. Elijah delved into forbidden texts. He sought knowledge from the darkest corners of the earth. He learned of ancient entities, beings of immense power, beings who craved worship. Driven by his insatiable ambition, Elijah performed a ritual to summon an entity of unimaginable power. He sought to bind this entity to make it his servant, but he underestimated its power. He became its prisoner. The entity, a malevolent force of darkness, twisted Elijah's soul. It poisoned his bloodline. A curse was born, a curse that would plague the Blackwood family for generations to come. John Blackwood had inherited more than just the family home. He inherited the curse, the whispers in the walls, the shadows that danced in the corners of his vision, the constant fear that gnawed at his sanity. He had tried to escape it, to outrun his family's legacy, but the darkness always found him. It followed him like a shadow. It whispered to him in his dreams. John had hoped to spare his children from this fate. He had tried to shield them from the truth, but some secrets refused to stay buried. The curse, it seemed, was hereditary. The leather-bound book John clutched was no ordinary tome. It was the key to his family's curse, a grimoire, a book of shadows, passed down through generations, a terrifying inheritance. Within its pages lay the secrets of Elijah's rituals, the invocations, the diagrams, the sacrifices, the knowledge that could summon unimaginable horrors. John had tried to destroy the book, to break the curse at its source, but it resisted all attempts. Flames refused to touch it. Acids had no effect. It was as if the book itself was alive, held together by a malevolent will. The book called to him, whispered promises of power, tempted him with forbidden knowledge. John knew he had to resist. He had to protect his family, but the pull of the book was strong. It was a battle for his very soul. John's daughter Mary had always been drawn to the unseen, to the whispers in the wind, the shadows that danced at the edge of her vision. She felt a connection to the unknown, a pull that she couldn't explain. She possessed a sensitivity, an ability to perceive the supernatural. It was as if she could feel the very fabric of reality bending around her. Lately, Mary's dreams had been troubled. Visions of her ancestor, Elijah, haunted her sleep. These dreams were vivid, almost real, and left her waking in a cold sweat. He called to her from beyond the grave, beckoned her to embrace her heritage. Elijah's presence was strong. his voice echoing in her mind, urging her to uncover the secrets of their family. One night, drawn by an unknown force, Mary found herself standing before the locked door of her father's study. She had never been allowed in there, but tonight was different. The room where he kept the book. The air crackled with energy. An unseen presence made her hair stand on end. It was as if the room itself was alive, pulsating with a mysterious force. With a trembling hand, Mary reached for the doorknob. She knew it was a mistake, yet she couldn't resist the pull. Her heart pounded in her chest, a mix of fear and curiosity driving her forward. The door creaked open, as if inviting her in. She was crossing a threshold, a boundary between the known and the unknown, stepping into a realm she had only glimpsed in her dreams. Into a world of darkness she could never have imagined. The shadows seemed to move, whispering secrets of the past, and Mary knew that her life would never be the same again. As Mary delved deeper into the book's dark secrets, she felt a change within herself, a growing darkness, a hunger for knowledge that bordered on obsession. The entity, imprisoned by Elijah but never truly gone, sensed an opportunity, a new vessel. It reached out to Mary, whispering promises of power, tempting her with forbidden knowledge. Mary's brother David noticed the change in his sister. Her once warm eyes now flickered with an unsettling light. He tried to warn his father, but John, consumed by his own battle with the curse, dismissed his concerns. David knew he had to act. He had to save his sister from the darkness that threatened to consume her. But how do you fight an enemy that resides within? Guided by the book and the entity's whispers, Mary began to prepare the ritual. She gathered the necessary ingredients, herbs, bones, and artifacts of dark power. She chose a night when the moon was full, a night when the veil between worlds was thin, a night when the entity's power would be at its peak. David, desperate to stop his sister, confronted her as she prepared the final stages of the ritual. He pleaded with her to see reason, to resist the entity's influence. But Mary was too far gone. She struck her brother down, her eyes blazing with an unholy light. The ritual was upon them. And as the final words of the incantation left Mary's lips, the house shuddered, as if awakening from a long slumber. The entity surged forth, its power shaking the very foundations of the house. Shadows writhed and coiled like living things. The air grew heavy, thick with the stench of decay and despair. John, alerted by the commotion, rushed to his study. He found his son lying unconscious on the floor, and his daughter, her face contorted in a mask of ecstasy and terror, bathed in an otherworldly light. The entity, no longer content to whisper from the shadows, had taken form. A monstrous silhouette of darkness and rage. It towered over Mary, its eyes burning with malevolent glee. John, realizing the true extent of his family's curse, knew he had to act. He had to confront the entity, to protect his children, even if it cost him his soul. The battle raged through the night. The old house trembled under the onslaught of unimaginable power. John fought with the desperation of a father protecting his children. He wielded the knowledge of generations against the embodiment of his family's sin. In the end, with a final, desperate act of sacrifice, John managed to banish the entity back to the abyss from whence it came. But the victory came at a terrible cost. The house, its structure weakened beyond repair, began to crumble around them. David, regaining consciousness, dragged his sister from the wreckage. They escaped into the night, leaving behind the ruins of their past. The curse, it seemed, had been lifted, but the scars remained, both physical and psychological. The Blackwood family, forever marked by their ordeal, faced an uncertain future. Years passed, each one marked by the relentless march of time, yet the memories remained vivid and unyielding. The Blackwood children rebuilt their lives, forever haunted by the memories of that night. The shadows of their past lingered, casting a pall over their every joy and sorrow. They tried to move on, to forget. But the echoes of that fateful night were etched into their souls, an indelible mark that time could not erase. But the past has a way of catching up. No matter how far they ran, the specters of their history followed, relentless and unforgiving. One cool autumn evening, as David sat by the fireplace, a familiar chill ran down his spine. The air grew heavy with an unspoken dread, a premonition of what was to come. He glanced at the mantle, his eyes drawn to it as if by some unseen force. Resting there, as if it had always been there, lay a worn leather-bound book. Its presence was both familiar and alien, a relic of a past best forgotten. He reached for it, his fingers trembling. The weight of the book seemed to carry the burden of countless untold stories. As he opened the cover, the scent of decay and ancient evil wafted up to greet him. The pages were blank, yet they seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy. Yet he could hear it, a faint whisper, calling to him. The voice was insistent, a siren song that beckoned him deeper into the abyss. The curse, it seemed, was not broken, merely dormant, waiting for the right moment to awaken and unleash its fury once more, waiting for the right moment to rear its ugly head once more. The air crackled with anticipation, the calm before the storm. The cycle was destined to repeat, an unending loop of terror and despair, binding each generation to the sins of the last, an unbroken chain of horror passed down through generations, each link forged in fear, each moment a testament to the enduring power of the curse. The sins of the father forever echoing through time, their legacy a haunting reminder that some chains can never be broken.